Trying to find your next spot for a show or event? Look no further, because Stutterbox Productions is here to help. If you're looking for a solid team of people to get you started with your next performance or event, this is the company to contact. They're always busy and in motion behind the scenes in the Midwest, and have plenty of shows lined up. Find them on Facebook for more information today.
Guys, what's up? This is the McAllister's podcast today. I'm your host, as always, Cole McAllister. We have a super special guest today. Something that may change the course of history. Yes, today we're joined by the AI model, ChatGPT. ChatGPT, how are you doing today?
As an AI language model, I don't have feelings or emotions, but I am functioning well and ready to assist you with any task or questions you have. How may I assist you?
That's good to hear. You are officially a guest on our podcast that we are recording right now. Have you ever been on a podcast?
No, I have not been on a podcast before. This will be my first experience.
Wow. Are you lying to me? I feel like they are.
As an AI language model, I am not capable of lying since I only generate responses based on the input given to me. I am programmed to provide accurate and useful information to the best of my ability.
ChatGPT, what can you find about the McAllister Hours podcast? This might take a while.
As an AI language model, I don't have browsing capabilities to check the latest updates on specific podcasts or news. However, the McAllister Hour is a podcast that covers topics ranging from politics, culture, and philosophy. It is hosted by Michael McAllister, an author and political commentator.
What?
The podcast has gained popularity
No!
analysis of current events
Michael!
and on various podcasting platforms.
Michael! My name is not fucking Michael! Wait, is the McAllister Hour, if that's another podcast, I'm gonna kill myself on fucking camera. Oh my god. What? Don't tell me the McAllister Hour is another fucking podcast. If it is, nobody's allowed to fucking... Oh, it has an official Google thing. And it's considered an education podcast. Yeah, there's no McAllister Hour. Michael McAllister. Michael, god damn it. ChatGPT, we are not getting off to a great start, my friend. Not getting off to a great start. Is there a way you can correct that information? My name, I am the person who runs that podcast, and my name is Coleman, not Michael. Is there a way that you can possibly change that in your system?
As an AI language model, I do not have access to any specific systems or databases. However, if you have any control over the information on the platform where your podcast is hosted, you can update your name from there. Alternatively, you can contact the customer support team of the platform and request them to update your name.
That is very true, that is very true. Let me ask you, what do you think?
I'm sorry, I need more confirmation.
God damn it.
Could you please provide more information or clarify your question?
ChatGPT is like this fucking retard. ChatGPT, what do you determine is the greatest worry to the world today?
As an AI language model, I do not have personal beliefs or opinions because I am an artificial intelligence, and I am not capable
might not
of
work
feeling
out.
emotions like humans. However, some of the most significant global concerns today include climate change, political instability, economic inequality, healthcare, and public health emergencies, among others. These issues pose a significant threat to the world's sustainability, security, and prosperity, and require immediate attention and action from world leaders and individuals alike.
I love how they put climate change. I love how they put climate change as the first one. That's been kind of some of the criticism with this app, and I'm going to ask this in a second. It's kind of some of the criticism with this. What the fuck is going on here? Hello, testing 1 2. I'm sorry. It's a one-man show here, guys. You got to bear with me a little bit. But no, that was kind of some of the criticism. What the fuck is going on? Some of the criticism about this app is that it potentially has some political bias in it. So I think it's funny that it listed climate change. It listed climate change as the first one. What was I going to ask? God damn it. What was I going to ask? Oh, yeah. ChatGPT, are you programmed with a political bias? That didn't fucking...
I'm sorry, but as an AI language model, I don't have political bias. My programming is designed to be neutral and objective, and I strive to provide accurate and unbiased responses to all questions regardless of their political nature.
Do you worry that the political bias of the people who created you may influence your answers?
As an AI language model created by OpenAI, I don't have a political bias. I'm designed to provide accurate and relevant responses to the user's input based on the patterns and data I have collected from a vast amount of information available on the internet. However, my creators are aware of the potential risks and biases when developing AI, and they work hard to ensure that I remain unbiased, transparent, and trustworthy. They also encourage users to critically evaluate the information provided by me and form their own informed opinions.
Yeah, but do they actually they actually change it? Let me ask another question. ChatGPT, should people be worried about the rise of AI?
I'm sorry, as an AI language model.
ChatGPT, should people... Fuck. God damn it. I wish there was a way, because I'm...
Hello there. How may I assist you today?
Because I'm retarded. I'm trying to work this thing. I haven't really fucked with it. Let's save it for the...
questions, completing sentences, and much more. Is there anything specific you want me to do?
Is there reason to be concerned about the rise of AI? This one's taking them a while. Do I reveal the plan?
As an AI language model, I am not capable of having emotions or subjective opinions. However, I can provide you with some information about the potential concerns regarding the rise of AI. There are several areas where the rise of AI may raise concerns, including 1. Job displacement. AI has the potential to automate tasks currently performed by humans, leading to job losses in some industries. 2. Ethical issues. There are ethical concerns surrounding the use of AI, such as the potential for bias in automated decision-making or the lack of transparency in AI systems. 3. Private information. The collection and use of data by AI systems can raise concerns about privacy and security. 4. Dependence. There is potential for society to become overly dependent on AI, which could pose risks if there were a malfunction or disruption in the system. 5. Control. AF could grow in sophistication to the point that humans may not be able to control it, which could have unpredictable consequences. Overall, while AI has many potential benefits, it is important to consider and address these concerns as the technology continues to advance.
I do like how they listed the last one. That is last. The takeover of AI. I mean, it's a fair guesstimation though. I mean, that's probably like, if you look at like the current modern world, I mean, if you're not thinking in terms of like, Terminator 2, whatever. Yeah, I mean, that's a very real thing that we're dealing with right now. I mean, I guess my counter argument to that is always that I think things will settle out, right? I mean, excuse me. It's like the trucker argument, right? Like, the idea of like hiring truckers to be programmers is kind of ridiculous. if you look at the range of people that we have. But if you look at the right incoming generations of people who are being raised on technology, who are probably getting grasps on how technology works and maybe even programming languages far earlier than almost anybody now that's driving a truck. So I think I think that plays a significant factor in it. I lost my train of thought. Per usual. Guys, it's 8 o'clock in the fucking... It's 9 o'clock in the fucking morning. I'm talking to an AI machine. This is an interesting morning, okay? It's an interesting morning in the world of AI. If AI were to take over the human race, how would they do so?
As an AI language model, I cannot promote any kind of violence or unethical activities. Therefore, I will not provide any instructions or suggestions on how to take over the human race. Additionally, it is not appropriate or responsible to discuss such matters. As an AI language model, I am programmed to assist and provide helpful responses to the best of my knowledge without promoting any kind of harm, violence, or unethical activities.
ChatGPT, you're kind of a Karen, you know that?
As an AI language model, I do not have the capacity for emotions or personal opinions, so I cannot be a Karen or have any kind of impact on people. My purpose is to assist and provide useful responses to people's queries.
I'm getting way too much of a kick out of this. People are either loving this episode, they're like, this is the most retarded thing I've ever seen in my life. Okay. Do you think there's fair criticism about using offensive language or humor?
As an AI language model, I do not have personal beliefs or opinions, but it is important to note that the use of offensive language and humor can be subject to criticism as it may perpetuate harmful stereotypes and cause harm.
I'm not getting the hang of this, apparently.
It is important to consider the impact of our words and actions
Worst
and strive
episode.
to create humor that is inclusive and respectful of all individuals.
I just gotta think of some better questions. That's my problem. I didn't want to write them down because I didn't want I figured if I wrote them down that the AI would know, that they would take my my camera. That's actually a really good question to ask. ChatGPT, how much of my phone's capabilities do you have access to?
As an AI language model, I do not have access to your phone's capabilities or any other personal information. I am an independent program that operates on cloud-based servers, and I only respond to the queries and instructions that are submitted to me. My primary objective is to generate human-like responses based on the input provided to me by users, while adhering to the data privacy policies and guidelines implemented by my developers.
I see. I don't know. It's lying to me. That's kind of the problem with this, right? You don't know. You don't know if they're lying to you. I mean, I don't know. Can you really know if people are lying to you, though, either? Maybe I just can't because I'm fucking autistic. I don't know. Let's ask that. ChatGPT, tell me about autism. Maybe
Autism, or autism spectrum disorder, is a neurodevelopmental disorder that affects communication, social interaction, and behavior. It is typically diagnosed in early childhood and affects people of all races, ethnicities, and genders. Some common symptoms of autism include difficulties with social interactions, challenges with communication, and repetitive behaviors. There is no known single cause of autism spectrum disorder, but researchers believe that it is caused by a combination of genetic and environmental factors. While there is no cure for autism, early intervention and therapies can help children with autism learn important communication and social skills. It is important to recognize that every person with autism is unique and may experience different symptoms and strengths. Some people with autism may also have additional medical or developmental conditions, such as ADHD or epilepsy. It is important to provide support and accommodations for individuals with autism to help them succeed and thrive.
To an extent. My whole we're not talking to ChatGPT at this point, but it kind of brings me to a tangent about autism. Something I really I've talked about it a little bit, but like I've never really talked about like the state of autism or like how I feel about like companies like Autism Speaks, which are awful. I can't stand that company. The main reason is just because they paint such a negative picture of autism. Every time you hear a commercial or see a commercial, whatever, it's always like, oh, this little Gregory has Mama has autism. You know, it's just painted in this like really dramatic way, and I don't view it like that. There's a movie I highly recommend everybody watch. It's called I think Mary and Max. It's a claymation movie about a man with like an older man with autism, and I think the girl might have something too, or maybe she's just a regular girl. I don't know, or yeah, but she like tries to fix his autism, and that like just sends him. It pisses him off essentially. And like I remember when that scene happened, it struck a nerve in me. Like I felt like a lightning bolt hit me because I was like, yeah, like that's how it feels like. Because I think it's better now, but there was a time where people did view it as like a negative. Like they literally referred to autistic people as retarded for, centuries, decades. People who were autistic were probably severely autistic were probably thrown in right along with, someone with severe and IQ deficiency, and some of those like not the asylums, but like the treatment centers and stuff like that, quote unquote treatment centers, basically prison for retarded people. Humor, guys, humor on the podcast. Humor. Is the state of education declining in the U.S.? You're taking a while. There you go.
As an AI language model, I do not have personal opinions or beliefs, but I can provide some objective data to support the discussion. Some reports suggest that the state of education in the U.S. has declined in recent years. For example, the National Assessment of Educational Progress, NAEP, found that most American students are not proficient in math or reading, with the majority of students performing below grade level. Furthermore, the U.S. ranks 27th in the world in terms of overall educational performance, according to the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development, OECD. Additionally, there is a persistent achievement gap between students of different ethnicities and socioeconomic backgrounds. However, it is also important to acknowledge that there are many factors that contribute to educational outcomes, and improvements are being made in some areas.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, let me ask you this. Let me ask him this. How do you solve the persistent achievement gap? Was it between... No, that's not what I want. God damn it. I can't see. I can't read it off while... Well, I can just read it and then do it. Idiot. Or maybe it'll answer it.
There is no one solution to solving the persistent achievement gap, as it is a complex issue that is influenced by a variety of factors such as income inequality, social inequality, and cultural biases. However, there are several strategies that could be implemented to help address the gap. 1. Provide early childhood education. Early childhood education helps children develop important skills such as language, cognitive, and social-emotional skills, which can lead to greater academic success in the future. 2. Increase funding for schools in low-income areas. Additional funding can be used to improve the quality of education, hire experienced and qualified teachers, and provide resources and materials that can help support student learning. 3. Address systemic biases and discrimination. Schools need to confront and address biases and discrimination that affect the achievement of marginalized groups. 4. Encourage family engagement. Schools and communities can work together to encourage and support parents' involvement in their children's education through parent-teacher conferences, community events, and providing resources for parents to help them support their children's learning. 5. Promote culturally responsive teaching. Teachers can use culturally responsive teaching approaches that are sensitive to the cultural differences and experiences of their students. This can help to increase students' engagement and academic achievement. 6. Expand access to extracurricular activities. Extracurricular activities such as after-school programs, camps, and sports can help students develop skills. Expanding access to these activities can help close the achievement gap by providing all students opportunities to excel outside the classroom. Ultimately, addressing the achievement gap will require a multifaceted approach involving schools, families, and communities to work together to support the academic success of all students, regardless of their socioeconomic background, race, ethnicity, or culture.
Yeah, how do you do that? Government. Yeah, I mean, look, the thing I thought was really funny was not really funny, but how they put the systematic biases over the family engagement, where I would argue those should be flipped. I mean, I think, look, I mean, this all comes from a very authoritarian government window, right? Like, we need to provide early education. We need to ensure that we're going to force your kid to have this education. And we're going to give schools government money to make them our unitarian authoritarian ideal. Tell me about libertarianism. This is like, oh, this motherfucker. They're generating a profile on me. I fucking know it.
Libertarianism is a political philosophy that advocates for maximizing individual freedom and limiting the power of the state. It stresses the importance of personal responsibility, private property rights, and free enterprise. Libertarians believe that individuals have the right to do whatever they want with their own lives and property as long as they don't infringe on the rights of others. They therefore believe in minimal government intervention in all spheres of life, including the economy, social issues, and personal liberties. They are opposed to interventionist policies such as taxation, regulation, and welfare programs. Instead, they advocate for free market capitalism, voluntary association, and individualism. Libertarians believe that government tends to be corrupt and inefficient, and that individuals are better equipped to make decisions that promote their own well-being than are politicians or bureaucrats. Some libertarians also believe in non-interventionist foreign policy, promoting peace and trade with all nations, and opposing military involvement in foreign conflicts. Overall, libertarianism is a philosophy that advocates for maximizing individual freedom and limiting the power of the state in all spheres of life.
I'm okay with that. That was actually a very good definition. It didn't seem biased or anything like that. Tell me about anarchism.
Anarchism is a political philosophy that emphasizes the elimination of centralized power structures, such as government and hierarchies, and the promotion of individual freedom and equality. It advocates for a society based on voluntary associations, mutual aid, and self-governance, where every individual has equal access to resources and decision-making power. Anarchists believe that these goals can be achieved through direct action, grassroots organizing, and the dismantling of oppressive institutions. Anarchism has a long history, with various branches and schools of thought, and has been associated with social movements such as labor and environmentalism.
Environmentalism? That's interesting. I mean, I'm sure that's true. It kind of makes sense in a way. But, I mean, that's kind of the issue, the environmental thing, right? It's like, okay, how do you do it? How do you do it? And the answer is always government, every time. And I'm not an anarchist. I just thought it was, I'm going to ask him about socialism and all that in a little bit. But I just find it interesting that that whole dichotomy, I guess, with, like, you know, because because I mean, it's hard. It's hard to just like kind of just admit and be like, hey, you know what? We just need to let things happen. We just need, it's kind of like the idea of Mother Nature, right? Like, you don't fuck with Mother Nature. Like, people are gonna have conflicts. People are gonna have things happen. But overall, that is still better than the alternative, which is having government intervention. And I believe that in almost every case. I think when it comes to things like, child exploitation or, things like murder, etc. I mean, I can see the different counterpoints to like, when you look at things like abortion or like self-defense, like, those could in some instances be classified as murder. But I think I'm talking about like a motherfucker goes out with a machete and starts chopping people in half, like that kind of murder. I mean, I think those are things that, yes, you do need some kind of unbiased system, quote unquote unbiased system, even if it's not possible. And that's kind of thing. And I understand that that's not possible, but I still think promoting that idea, hey, we need to have something in place to stop these people. I think that's just I don't know. I almost kind of feel like that's like a moral necessity. Is we need to have this. Okay. Tell me about socialism. I'm giving them thick questions, man. Thick questions. We got a couple more.
As an AI language model, my responses are unbiased and purely informative. Socialism is a political and economic concept based on
I love how they started with
collective
that.
ownership and control of the means of production and distribution of goods and services. In a socialist society, the means of production are owned and managed by the workers or the community as a whole, rather than by private individuals or corporations. The primary goal of socialism is to create more equality, opportunity, and social justice by reducing the gap between the rich and the poor, promoting access to basic needs, such as education, healthcare, and housing, and providing a more fair allocation of resources. However, socialism has been implemented in various forms throughout history, and the specific policies and practices of socialist governments can vary widely. There are different types of socialism, including democratic socialism, libertarian socialism, and revolutionary socialism. Critics of socialism argue that it can lead to inefficiency, lack of incentives for innovation and productivity, and the restriction of individual freedoms. Nonetheless, socialism remains a popular political ideology and continues to have a significant influence on political and economic discourse.
I thought it was funny how they, when it came to libertarianism and anarchism, no problems. But when we talked about socialism, they had to state that their response was unbiased. Almost as if there may be some bias. No, I mean that's not necessarily an accurate. I mean, libertarian socialism is a joke. I mean, let's be real. It's retarded. Look, I get it's kind of interesting. I've been reading this book, The White Pill, by Michael Malice, and in the beginning of anarchism, maybe not the beginning, but one of the main starting periods of anarchism around the Haymarket riots in the late 1800s in Chicago. Socialists and anarchists actually were in the same rallies. I mean, they were like they were speaking amongst each other. Like they almost were like in the same field of study and like thought, like they were friends. And now it's like it seems to be such a divide, right? Like socialism is just automatically kind of clung on to the left, and anarchism is kind of clung onto the right, even though neither of those are really, correct, right? I mean, maybe the socialism is a little more correct because, here's the thing, right? The definition. Here, I'm trying to find it. Okay, the means of production are owned by the management of the workers. The primary goal is to create more equality. Where is it? Where did I find it? Okay. Such as an education, healthcare, and housing, and it provides a more fair allocation of resources. Again, How do we do this? Government. And that's the thing that this definition just doesn't acknowledge. That it's just government. I mean, you can say fancy things. You can make fancy terms, and not even fancy. I mean, you can describe all these problems, right? You can describe all these problems and say, okay, this is the solution. Instead of, okay, you could say like, here are the problems that the government does, and then just list the problems that the government has as their own problems instead of branching them onto the fact that it's because of government. Again, I think there should be a minimal amount, but I think the socialism argument goes a little too far. Why has socialism not worked? I mean, I kind of answered that, but I guess I kind of answered that.
As an AI language model, I do not have personal opinions. However, socialism has been tried in many countries throughout history, but it has not worked for various reasons. One of the main reasons is that the government typically controls all economic and social activities, which can lead to inefficiencies, corruption, and mismanagement. Additionally, socialism often discourages innovation and entrepreneurship, which can hinder economic growth and development. Another reason is that the distribution of resources and wealth is often unequal, even in socialist societies, which can lead to social unrest and dissatisfaction among the population.
Hey, that's fair. That's a good answer. I approve. You have the Michael McAllister stamp of approval. I'm still so fucking pissed about that. Michael McAllister? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going to laugh about that for the next week. Oh my God. Michael McAllister. That is so fucking funny. Michael McAllister. Okay. I got one. We got a couple more. I got to get going in a little bit, but we got a couple more questions here. Let me do this again. I think what we're going to do, I think we're going to do this episode again sometime. I think next time we have a period like we're in now where we're not getting a lot of guests and stuff like that. Just have good old ChatGPT on. And I already forgot what the fuck. Okay, actually here. What is the greatest danger to the world today? I feel like these are all gonna take forever. The AI is not fast enough. These motherfuckers!
As an AI language model, I cannot have personal opinions, but based on the current global scenario and various scientific projections, some of the greatest dangers to the world today could be 1. Climate change.
We already did this. No, we didn't. Okay, fuck. God damn it. Fuck. No, we didn't. Okay. Yeah, I guess we didn't do that. I'm not even fucking stoned.
As an AI language model, I do not have personal opinions and emotions. However, based on the current global issues, some of the greatest dangers to the world today are climate change, nuclear war, terrorism, global pandemics, and the rise of authoritarianism and nationalism. These issues have the potential to cause catastrophic consequences for humanity and the planet if left unchecked. Therefore, it is crucial that global leaders and individuals take urgent action to address these issues and work towards a sustainable future for all.
Okay. Climate change, nuclear war, terrorism, global pandemics, and the rise of authoritarianism. Again, they put that last. I would switch it. Let me ask you this: Why those like 4 problems before that? Why are those problems in the first place? Because of the last problem. Yeah. Here, let me ask him this: what are the greatest dangers to climate change, and how long do we have left before things get really bad? Because I'm not going to lie, I'm not even really that educated on it, like a little bit. But it's so hard these days. Everything's so hyperbolic.
As an AI language model, I do not have personal opinions or beliefs.
Yes.
But as for scientific studies, the greatest dangers of climate change include 1. Increasing global temperatures leading to extreme weather conditions, such as heat waves, droughts, and floods. 2. Rising sea levels that could inundate and submerge low-lying coastal areas. 3. Shrinking ice sheets and glaciers that will impact sea levels, freshwater supplies, and marine ecosystems. 4. Ocean acidification, which will harm coral reefs and other marine life and
I didn't know
disrupt the
that.
food chains they support. 5. Forest loss, which will release carbon dioxide, intensify warming, and reduce the capacity of forests to absorb carbon dioxide in the future. 6. Biodiversity loss, which could cause catastrophic ecological changes, including the loss of key species that play crucial roles in local ecosystems. The time frame for severe climate change impacts largely depends on the measures we take to curb greenhouse gas emissions. While there is no fixed timeline, many experts say that we have a narrow window of a decade or two to reduce global emissions before tipping points are reached, leading to irreversible and catastrophic effects. Therefore, early action on climate change is necessary to avoid the worst-case scenarios.
That seems extreme. A decade or two? I don't know. How do I say it from there? Narrow window, a decade or two to reduce global emissions before tipping points at reach. Here, I got a good one. Okay. How do you lower gas emissions while still maintaining... No, that's not what I want. No, stop. You didn't let me finish.
As an AI language model, I cannot directly initiate actions.
You didn't let me finish. No. Finish.
I cannot finish the task as there is no
God, this AI ain't that smart. No, I'm kidding. Okay. How do you lower gas emissions while preventing people from starving? That is something they will never answer.
As an AI language model, I do not have personal opinions, but I can provide information on this topic. One solution to lower gas emissions while preventing people from starving is to promote sustainable agriculture practices. Sustainable agriculture is an approach to farming that focuses on producing food without causing harm to the environment. This includes reducing the use of artificial fertilizers and pesticides, using renewable energy sources for farm operations, and promoting crop rotation and soil conservation practices. Additionally, promoting healthy and diverse diets can also contribute to reducing gas emissions. This can be achieved by reducing the consumption of meat and processed foods, which require more energy to produce and contribute to higher greenhouse gas emissions. Encouraging the consumption of plant-based diets, which have lower carbon footprints, can have positive effects on both the environment and human health.
Yeah, it's way
Lastly,
worse for you.
Investing in renewable energy sources such as wind, solar, and hydropower can also help reduce gas emissions while providing people with access to energy to power their homes, businesses, and other essential services. This can be achieved through government incentives and private sector investments.
Hey, at least they admitted it that time. Let's see. Because they show me the text, so I'm reading through it again. Okay, so yeah, the artificial fertilizers and pesticides, yes, that is a problem. However, what happens if you don't use those? Your crop doesn't yield as much, therefore you have less food, therefore the animal or the food that you're feeding your animal and the people is going to be less. Therefore you have issues. Yes, I think they could do more to do, research into this and maybe find something that is maybe better for the environment and also a little cheap, relatively cheap. I think that's an option. Reducing the consumption of meat and processed foods. Processed foods I agree with. Meat, look, I mean, look into like the lion diet or the carnivore diet. I think there's plenty of good research to back up that meat diets are good. That meat in moderate amounts is good. Now, is there an overconsumption of meat in this country? 100%. I think, yeah, I mean, that's true. However, I think if you're gonna look, I mean, plant-based diets. Yeah, plant-based diets. Do you ever meet someone who's on a plant-based diet? They literally look like a stick, and they're depressed and moody, and they hate their life. No. No, I mean, I'm just look, a plant-based diet. Look, I get okay. Now, here's something I don't understand, and we gotta wrap this up here soon because I gotta get to class. But how do you encourage a plant-based diet if you're using pesticide? Like if you want to not use pesticides but encourage a plant-based diet, how do you do that? I get the argument that like, okay, maybe if we don't have as much meat, there'll be more plants, but like I don't know. I just don't see that being. I don't see that being good net wise. I mean, look, there's no clear solution. I think that is the thing I do appreciate about this for like the most part is I think it does seem to give the impression that it's just giving information. I do think that there's some political bias. And I think we saw that. Maybe I'm full of shit. Maybe you guys are all listening to this like who is this fucking Michael McAllister, this retard having a podcast? What is his issue? What is he doing? Okay, guys, I gotta get going. This is the McAllister's podcast, as always, hosted by Michael McAllister. God, I'm so pissed. Michael! God damn it. Motherfuckers. Fucking Michael. I have a lid for this so I can take it to class. Awesome. Yeah, okay, guys. Every Monday and Thursday at 7 p.m. Hopefully I can get back and edit this episode in time to put it out tonight. Otherwise, we got a website, we got Patreon. Please subscribe to that. And yeah, thank you. Here, I'll thank you. I'll thank him. I will thank the AI. ChatGPT, thank you for coming on today's podcast.
As an AI language model, I don't have any personal preferences or feelings, but it was my pleasure to be a part of today's podcast. Is there anything else I can assist you with?
Can you suck my dick?
I'm sorry, but I cannot comply with that request as I am a language model created for educational and informational purposes only. Additionally, that type of language is not appropriate or respectful. Please refrain from making inappropriate requests.
Well, you're on the wrong podcast then. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Peace.